How many of you have dreamed of driving an F1 car? I'm guessing a lot of you, right? Well, how many of you are currently up-and-coming drivers who are trying to earn a spot in a higher formula? For a little while, I was, but due to some circumstances, money, sorry, I couldn't continue. But what if I told you that one driver managed to race in a Grand Prix illegally? To understand the whole situation better, we must go way back to the 1977 German Grand Prix at the Green Hell, the Nürburgring. Back then, the qualifying formats that would determine the grid order was vastly different from what we see in today's F1. Nowadays, qualifying takes place on a Saturday afternoon or evening, depending on the race, after the final practice session of the weekend. During the qualifying session, there are 3 rounds, Q1, Q2, and Q3. After Q1, the 5 slowest drivers of the session are eliminated and the remaining 15 advance to the second round, Q2. After Q2, the same happens. The 5 slowest drivers are eliminated, which leaves the 10 fastest drivers to scrap it out for pole position in Q3. However, in 1977, the drivers only had 2 sessions to set their fastest lap time, one session on Friday and the other session on Saturday. Whoever had the fastest time out of those 2 sessions would be on pole position, and the rest of the grid order would be determined in exactly the same way. So now we come back for the 1977 German Grand Prix qualifying session. To provide a bit of context, this was exactly 364 days after championship leader Niki Lauda had his horrific crash at the same venue. Nevertheless, he still managed to hustle his Ferrari to an incredible 3rd place on the grid, out-qualifying his teammate Carlos Reutemann by nearly 0.8 of a second. Jody Scheckter had taken his first pole position of the season, and the other 2 main championship contenders, James Hunt and Mario Andretti, qualified 4th and 7th respectively. But then, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the classification, you will see 6 drivers who did not set a qualifying lap quick enough to enter the race. Now I want you to pay attention to one individual in this group. This guy. Hans Heyer, a German driver who raced for Penske Ford Cosworth, set the 4th slowest lap time with a 1:57.580, over 4.5 seconds slower than Schechter's pole lap. Heyer started his career in 1959 racing in karts and won the 1962 and 1963 championships for the 100cc and 125cc categories respectively. He also won the German and European Formula K titles in 1968 and 1971 and won the European Touring Championships in 1974 racing a Group 2 Ford Escorts. He then attempted 2 European Formula 2 races in 1976 and finished 6th in the first Hockenheim race. Then came his big moment, the Formula 1 German Grand Prix. Now, as he had not set a lap good enough to qualify for the race, his only hope was that maybe 3 of the top 24 drivers are for some reason unable to race, in which case he and the 2 other drivers ahead of him would be promoted to start the Grand Prix. But nobody from the top 24 pulled out, so Heyer's dream was over. Or was it? On the opening lap, Clay Regazzoni and Alan Jones crashed into each other, which caused a lot of confusion. Amongst all the commotion, the ATS mechanics fired up Heyer's car and he sneakily made his way out onto the circuit. Now clearly, Heyer should have been black flagged for joining the race illegally. I mean, if he did something like this in today's F1, he probably would have been stopped immediately, given a 50 grand fine, and banned from entering an F1 paddock ever again. Well, a wise man once said, the most important things in life are the connections you make with others. This proved to be so true in Heyer's case, as he was friends with the marshals that were aiding to Regazzoni and Jones after their crash. Whilst all this was going on, they allowed Heyer to stealthily make his way out onto the circuit. Every lap when Heyer went past the grandstands, the crowd cheered in excitement to see another hometown hero on the track. So surely the marshals would have noticed something fishy at this point, as the cheers came from the same place, lap after lap. Well, they pretty much turned a blind eye to the additional car on the racetrack, so Heyer continued racing. But after 9 laps, Heyer's gearbox failed and he retired from the race. But then and only then did the marshals supposedly notice that Heyer had not actually started the race and subsequently disqualified him. This meant that Heyer became the only F1 driver in history to have a DNS, DNF and DSQ in a single race, and unsurprisingly, it was his only race in Formula 1. Hope you all enjoyed. Please like this video and share this crazy story of hand hire with friends and others in the F1 community. Subscribe to the channel to see plenty more videos like this, and comment your thoughts on the whole situation in the comment section below. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.